Good day, everyone, and welcome back to another session of Impress Upon You. My name is Jason Raimondi with JOR Hospitality Solutions. For this segment, I'm going back to a gem I taught years ago with some other organizations and still keeping it alive with my current company. It is becoming a giant service provider. And as you can see, it is an acronym for the GIANNT. So let's get started and jump into things. Letting you all know what each one stands for. G is genuine interest. I is impressions, was read along with one of the standards within my own company. We want to have good first and lasting impressions. We want to make sure that we're anticipating needs. Name usage, huge expectation still today. And then thoughtful gestures, as I like to call it. Let's go over each one of these. And we'll start with G for genuine interest. This one is probably one of the most important ones and one of the most easily missed ones when it comes to service. What is genuine interest? Well, expectations. Learn about your guest. Sounds simple enough, but we're not interrogating our guest. We're just asking them questions, getting to know them. And after we gain that information, we have to prove what we have learned about our guest. Well, what do I mean by that? So if a guest says to you that they like a particular wine, let's say at dinner, why ask them later on if they would like that wine? Simply bring that region or that vintage over to the guest and offer it to them automatically. You heard and learned about them, and then you proved what the expectation was by showing it to them. Asking appropriate questions. As I said a moment ago, you don't want to just interrogate the guest, and make sure that you're relating to your guest. So if the guest is talking about a particular topic, let's say, what are some activities to do within your resort? We don't tell them about our favorite vacation. That's not relatable. Just keep it to what the guest expectations are. So again, G, genuine interest. Moving on, a little more complicated looking here, is impressions. So on this side we have first impressions, and on this side we have lasting impressions. If you've read my blog lately, there's another topic on this as well, and we all know the old adage of you never have a second chance to make a first impression. So the expectation here is from the very first moment, you have to provide the guest luxury service. One of my favorite stories here is when I worked for Disney. We used to get a question constantly at the Magic Kingdom, which was, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Well, on my shift, I probably heard that question up to 100 times. Each guest that asked it to me, though, was their first time. So if by the 40th time I barked at the guest, I did not make a good first impression. The first impression is not from your point of view. The first impression is from the guest's point of view. And when they walk up to you, no matter what department you're in within a resort, making sure that you're creating a luxury experience from the very beginning. Just as important as the first impression is obviously the last impression. After each interaction, a professional and lasting experience is provided. The guest should walk away from you remembering specific details about that experience, and how you ended the experience is what they're going to take away and share with their friends and family. So they really go hand in hand. Start on a high, but end even stronger. I like to say, leave your mark on the guest. Moving on, A, probably the most complicated one, is anticipating guest needs. And this is our A. So thinking one step ahead of the guest. Providing a service or an experience they didn't realize they needed. So a simple one is when you're dining at a restaurant in a luxury hotel and you ask for the check. When the employee or the team member brings over the check, there should be a pen inside of the portfolio for you to sign the bill. You shouldn't have to ask for that. That was the employee anticipating your needs of needing the pen. Tons of other examples. They can get a lot more complicated. So perhaps you have a repeat guest, and as you see them walking into the front office of the hotel to check in, you know that they have a particular way of checking in. Maybe they always like to ask for a certain bottle of water. Don't ask them, can I get you your favorite bottle of water, Mr. Smith? Have it ready for the guest. As you see them approaching, go and get that bottle of water, or whatever the gesture is, but making sure that you're never having the guests think too hard. Think for them. It's what they're paying for. That's the luxury side of service. Next one, in the home stretch here, name usage. We won't spend a lot of time here. If you're not doing this in luxury, you're struggling on every front. This is by far the easiest one. Whether it's the first name, because the guest said, use my first name, or it is the last name, you must utilize their name during all interactions with your guest. So what do we have here? Personalized interaction. Every interaction must use the guest's name. So here's what's not acceptable. Hey guys, here's what's not acceptable. Everyone is sir and ma'am. What is acceptable? Getting their name, using it, and using it often. So I can go on and on about this one. Just use the name. And last but not least, probably my favorite one of the 5, is thoughtful gestures. So experiences that create emotional connections. Service that is personal, exceptional, and memorable. Every time you interact with a guest, if you follow GIANT, the G, the I, the A, and the N should ultimately lead to the T. But there will be times where you may not have done enough and didn't really impress upon the guest a great expectation at the end. So how do you do that? Some kind of a thoughtful gesture. Even in this day and age, coming out from behind the front desk to greet the guest. If you see the guest as a housekeeper in the hallway, making sure you stop what you're doing and greet them. Little trinkets left in the room or how you arrange their clothing. Yes, that's still happening today. Restaurants, you have a plethora of options to create thoughtful gestures. So ultimately, expectation here is that we become a giant by hitting these 5 expectations, not once in a while, not as an above and beyond moment. This becomes the basic expectation of every great experience at a great resort at the luxury level. Hope this impressed upon you some ideas of how to interact with your guest. If you've seen this before, hope it sparked your memories. See you again soon. Thank you so much for your time.